part 8. Okay, random around point. Now that you can make the bee follow the mouse, let's make the bee fly around the mouse as shown in the picture on the right. And you saw that with the flowers. And in order to do this, you need to add a random amount between -50 and 50 to the mouse X or Y. So let's go ahead and look at what the bees were doing. What were they looking at to go move around like that? So there's the creation of our bees. So we have B1, X equals the world mouse plus, and then there's our random number. So we set it to -50 to 50. All right, so let's take a look at that back here in part 7. Okay, so instead of just mouse X, we're gonna do the math. We're add that because we want it to be plus or minus that random number. So let's put our world mouse X back in. Back to math for our random number. And that's going to be a -50 to a 50. And run. And so now it's shaking horizontally. Oh, and you know what? I just am on the wrong one, I think. But it's still going to be the same thing. All right. So it's still moving horizontally when I run it. All right. So now we need to do the same thing for your Y to get it going in any direction. So let's remove that. Let's add our math. Let's add. And then again, random number. So since I'm in my math, I might as well put that one in. -50 to 50. And if you're curious how I'm moving through some of these to type in my information a little faster, if you hit the tab key, it automatically goes to the next place you can type. And that we need world mouse Y. So now if I reset and run, now it's going to be any random spot around that mouse. Okay, if necessary, use the world frame rate block to slow down the animation to find the best frame rate. So, and then challenge, see if you can add 3 more bees. So let's try that world. Oh, undo that. World frame rate there. So 30 is standard. So let's try and go a little bit slower. Looks a little bit better. Let's try 15. Again, this is sometimes just something you play with to see what works, what doesn't work. There you go. So about half the speed, you can see them buzzing around a little bit more. All right, number 9. Okay, so far you've used key down as a way to let users control your program. So as soon as you push it down, whatever you have in your conditional is going to happen. But that's just one of the many ways to take input. In fact, just one of many ways to detect key presses. Depending on how you want to react to a key press, there are a few other blocks you may want to use. So read the program and predict below what will happen when you press each of the up, down, left, or right arrows. Okay, so you have just the regular key down with an exclamation in front, key went down, and key went up. So I want your prediction for all 4 of those. And then after you run it, I want to know, back in your Google Doc, what happened. So what does it mean when, or what happens with key down? What happens with the exclamation key down? So all 4 of those, I want to know how they work. Okay. Part 10 is match your code, what's going on. So that's follow up with what we just did. Okay, part 11. Key presses are great, but sometimes you want users to interact through mouse clicks. There's a new block called mouse down, which is similar to the key down. Checks whether the left or right mouse button is being pressed, so only being pushed down. If you are using a computer with a mouse or trackpad that only has one button, you'll want to always use the mouse down left. It's always a left click. So if you're using your Chromebook, that's the one you're going to want to use. So here's a program that drops a balloon down the screen. You're going to program the mouse button to raise a balloon back when it is clicked. Add an if-else statement to check for mouse down. All right, let's do that. Control if, checking for world, mouse down. And again, make sure it's the left button. Inside the conditional, move the balloon up 1 pixel if the mouse is down. Otherwise, move the balloon down. So that's an if else, okay? So y is going to change like it is here. So if it's going to go up, we need to subtract our y. So let's go ahead, sprites. We're changing the y. So balloon is the name of our sprite, equals. So we're adding there to go down, so subtract to go back up. Equals 1, keep the same speed. So if I run it, oh, mouse button, it just stops. So how do we get it to go up? We need that else statement. So I'm going to add my else. We already have the code to get it to move down. So I'm going to move that into my else statement, reset and run. So now when I'm clicking, the balloon will go up. When I'm not clicking, the balloon continues to go down. All right, 2 more parts for this lesson. Responding to a single click. Earlier we learned that key went down and key went up can be used to respond to a key press a single time. The blocks mouse went up and mouse went down allow you to do that for the mouse. So let's make a simple game that counts how many times you've clicked. We've already provided the variable clicks that you can use to track how many times the user has clicked. Add a conditional that checks if the mouse went down. All right, find our control, find our if statement. Go to world if mouse went down, add 1 click to the clicks variable. So in other words, it's another counter pattern. Instead of using a sprite though, we just have clicks. So we're gonna have, go to my variables, I'm just gonna use this blank one. So clicks, because that's the name of our variable, we're gonna add to click. So instead of having our X increase 1, our Y increase 1, our rotation, whatever it is, sorry, I'm thinking and trying to type at the same time, we're gonna add 1 to our count. So if I run it, we are at 0, I click. Every time I click, not when I'm holding, but every time I actually click, our counter will go up by 1. Okay, last one here. This one is another little mini assessment. So I'm going to kind of try and see what you can do with it. So we can also use Boolean expressions to check whether or not the mouse has moved. So the mouse did move, block will return false if the mouse is still, but true if the mouse has been moving. So do this. Right now, the program just displays a salt shaker sprite. You'll need to use mouse did move so that you can shake the salt by moving the mouse back and forth. So add a conditional that checks if mouse did move. Conditional if mouse did move. Again, that's in our world. Mouse did move. Rotate the salt shaker randomly to the left or to the right. So that's our sprite rotation. And then we're going to want that to be random, right? To just kind of look like it's shaking. Now, when you're putting in numbers here, check at the actual rotation to start with. You're going to want your numbers to be similar to that. So let's change our name. Because if I leave it from 1 to 10, if mouse moves, it puts it back where it was. I'm going to remove this real quick. So run. So that's the, because if we're just shaking it upwards, that's not going to do anything. Okay, let's see if I can undo. Yep, there it is. So I want it to be around that 150. So I'm going to do 140, 160 to make it even on both sides. Subtract 10 and add 10. So now we're still. And now when I'm moving it, the salt shaker is also moving. So challenge, can you keep track of how many times the mouse did move? Shake the salt and then rotate it right side up after 100 shakes. So go ahead, see if you can figure out how to do that on the challenge. All right, that's it for lesson 13. So we have all the lessons we need to create our animated greeting card or just our animated scene. That will be your final project that we'll talk about next week. All right, enjoy. We'll talk to you later.